So, the summer I turned pretty. We need to talk about it. So a few months ago, I made a video on love triangles, and in that video, I referred quite a few times to the whole Belly, Conrad, Jeremiah triangle thing. And in that video, I also said this. This is actually, I think, a really well done love triangle in the fact that I don't mind who wins. Maybe that's just because, I'm not overly obsessed with the show. Well. How the turntables. Honestly, the way this show in the final season sucked me in and took me from a really casual viewer to like a super fan. And as soon as I'd watched it, I just needed to talk someone's ear off about like the mastery of a time jump and the mastery of a man who yearns is really, really crazy. And I have few people in real life to talk about that with, so we're going to talk about it together today. So going into season 3, I think it was pretty clear that Conrad would be the endgame love interest for Belly. The story was set up that way for Conrad to be the winner, and unless they did some sort of crazy twist or made Belly end up with neither brother, it was always going to be Conrad that was the winning love interest. So going into season 3, the question was, at least for me, not who will Belly end up with, but how is Conrad going to be the victor without completely pissing off the audience and making the payoff satisfying? Because I was kind of like, they'll get there, but I don't know if it's going to be that satisfying. Like, I don't imagine I'm going to be rooting for them to like a fangirl level. But boy, was I wrong. And the most obvious answer to what they would do to make Conrad the victor in a way that didn't make you annoyed at Belly for flip-flopping between the brothers was probably to make Jeremiah the villain, which is unfortunately what they did. However, I do think they did it in a really masterful, believable way that was quite true to character and circumstances. But speaking of flip-flopping between brothers, did anyone watch My Life with the Walter Boys, the new season, season 2? You want to talk about a flip-flopping brother villain? That's what I didn't want to happen in The Summer I Turned Pretty, and they did deliver on that. In the first few episodes, we do get a bit of a villain arc from Jeremiah with the whole, we find out he cheated on Belly. If we're calling it cheating, really it was more Ross and Rachel, we were on a break. But initially, that's what it was. But that wasn't enough. It wasn't good enough. And the writers knew that wasn't good enough, because what they did is Jeremiah wasn't the villain because he went on spring break and slept with that other girl. The reason Jeremiah became sort of the villain was by widening the maturity gap between both Jeremiah and Conrad, and also between Belly and Jeremiah. So in season 3, when we see Conrad, what do we see of him? He's moved to the other side of the country. He's studying to become a doctor. He has career and life ambition. He lives alone in a very clean, tidy, fully furnished apartment. He dresses like a middle-aged man, which I don't think he needed to, but it was deliberate to show his maturity and to show that he's an adult. He's also in therapy, and on top of all that, it's been years and he is still completely in love and silently yearning for Belly. And if you compare that to where Jeremiah is in season 3, he's still at university, college. He is living in a fraternity house. He is not paying enough attention to his studies to even realise he doesn't have enough credits to graduate. He is not super supportive of his girlfriend's success to be selected in this programme to go and study abroad.
Good, because I don't want you to go either.
He, after one fight with Belly, assumes they're broken up and sleeps with someone else instead of having a mature conversation. He is in credit card debt to the point where he can't even lease an apartment, but he is happy to spend like $700 or whatever it was on cake. And his life somewhat revolves around like getting his father's approval. And saying all that, I do want to caveat, I'm in no way a Jeremiah hater. Jeremiah's immaturity and where he's at in life is completely correct to the age he is in his life circumstances, the fact he's like lost his mother. It makes sense to me. Like, he's 21, I think, in the show, and he is behaving like a 21-year-old. So I actually don't hate Jeremiah for those immature things, but the point is, it's showing the difference. It's showing that Jeremiah is a boy and that Conrad is like an adult. And in the first half of the season, when Belly and Jeremiah are together, there is a lot of sort of scenes and context of Belly mothering Jeremiah and their relationship. I do believe that they were in love with each other, but I think it's a very different type of love. I think they were very, very close friends. It's one of those relationships where you don't want to break up because it's your best friend, but really it's not like you shouldn't be in a relationship with each other. You're just best friends. And the way Belly mothers Jeremiah, again, it makes sense. Like, he's young. He's a really young guy. He just lost his mother. Like, his father shows absolutely no love to him. His brothers across the country. He does need someone to mother him, but that person, shouldn't be his girlfriend. I actually think that a better way to display the immaturity whilst making it more hard-hitting would probably to have aged them up even more than they did, because despite all the time jumps, like, they were still in their early 20s, maybe 22? Jeremiah was maybe 22, like 22 and 24, I think, by the end of all the time jumps, which to me is still young, which I guess is kind of the point, like, they were too young to get married and stuff. But the whole thing was like, Jeremiah doesn't have his life sorted out, he doesn't have career ambition, he doesn't know what he wanted to do yet. Well, neither did I. I didn't know when I was 21, 22. And I would never expect a 21 or 22-year-old to know that information and to be super mature. When I was 21, all I wanted to do was be in university and get drunk with my friends too and take trips, and I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. And I think that's perfectly fine. So I kind of think the age ups could have been even bigger. But let's talk about the age ups. Let's talk about the time jumps. I think this was the best thing they could have ever possibly done. And that's why, to me, season 3 is like a completely different show to seasons 1 and 2. So before season 3, as I say, I was a pretty casual viewer. And part of that, I think, is because it felt very teen angsty drama, which is fine. I love a teen drama. But as an adult watching it, sometimes I would be a bit like, am I too old to watch this? Is this too YA for me? And, all this drama's happening, but you're thinking, to be fair, you're 16, like, it's not that deep. You've got time to get over it. But by aging them up to adults, for one, the younger audience will have aged with the show. The actors have aged with the show. Like, even if you just look at the actors between season 1 and the end of season 3, like, you can just see in their faces that they have aged themselves. It just turns the show from, like, sort of petty teen drama with a bit of a slow burn, with like a 3-season slow burn, to a sweeping, long-term love story that lasts years and years and years. And when slow burn goes from, it takes us a little while to get together, to like, I've loved you for years and years and years, it turns into yearning. And if there's one thing the girlies want, it's a man who yearns. Conrad Fisher, the man who yearned.
I dream about this.
I wear this necklace every day of my life and have done for well over a decade. It makes me look like a Conrad Fisher superfan, but it's my family emblem. I promise I'm not crazy. So let's talk about yearning and how it saved the end of this show and how it made me, as a casual viewer who didn't have a preference, ship a side of the love triangle very, very strongly. So Yearning is very much written for the female gaze. It's based completely on the idealization that love is slow, deep, emotional, and it's not shallow, surface level lust. In order to yearn, it's not based just on you find them hot and you have like a long-term crush. It's not based on you don't really know them and you've put them on this sort of idealized pedestal. In order to yearn for someone, you have to truly love them, and you have to love them for a very long time, even if you're not in contact with them. And this is how we know we've got into romance fiction and we're in fantasy land. It's the difference between absence makes the heart grow fonder and out of sight, out of mind. So in The Summer I Turned Pretty, when we go through like these time jumps, Conrad and Belly haven't dated for years at this point. He's still as in love with her as he was before, if not more. And it doesn't just feel like he's in love with this idea of her, because they dated, they truly know each other, they've known each other their entire lives. So you know that his love is real and it's unconditional. You know, he's not happy when he finds out she's going to marry his brother, but he doesn't do anything to stop the wedding until like he's reached his peak, and until he's basically telling her like, Jeremiah cheated on you. Should he have said it? In real life, no, but like also, yes, within the context of the show, he should have. In fact, has anyone seen that Jennifer Lawrence like clip where she's saying she's Team Jeremiah?
I'm Team Jeremiah, and Conrad is toxic. Like, he kind of liked her, but then he didn't, and he left her hanging. And then for him to confess his love to her the night before her wedding is sick.
What a trash opinion. What a trash opinion. Anyway, point being, like, Conrad distances himself for her because he wants her to be happy, even at the sacrifice of like being in love with her for the rest of his life in the background. Whereas Jeremiah's love, like, I do think Jeremiah genuinely loved Belly, but I don't think it was like this deep, you're my true love. Jeremiah's love is like repetitively shown to be very codependent and very for the sake of his own ego. Once again, I'm actually not here to hate on Jeremiah's character because it completely makes sense with his age, his background, his circumstances. Jeremiah needs Belly for, again, his own sense of ego. He doesn't have the love of his father. He's lost his mother. His brother isn't anywhere nearby. Jeremiah isn't getting unconditional love, supportive love, really from anyone else in his life. So he needs Belly for that love, but he needs it selfishly for that love. He needs it to feel better about himself. He needs Belly for emotional support. That's not to say he would have never emotionally supported her in return, but it is much more transactional for Jeremiah. He needs Belly's love and affection to make him not feel like a worthless failure, really, which is the complete opposite of Conrad's love, which is unconditional, consistent, even after like years of dormancy and not speaking to each other. Like, it's night and day, the types of love. And it's proven as well, like I said, after one argument when he thinks they've broken up, Jeremiah literally goes and sleeps with someone else in order to find validation elsewhere, to prove that he can find validation elsewhere. I don't necessarily blame him for it. He was a young guy. If he genuinely thought they'd broken up, you know, it's not nice to know someone would rebound that quickly, but whatever. Also, when they do break up after the wedding, he is shown to rebound with multiple people, and he kind of goes off the rails a bit, which is fair enough, but it also proves that, like, he needed Belly for, like, an emotional anchor, as someone to, like, mother him, as I say. Because when they broke up, he almost rebelled, a bit like a kid leaving the nest for the first time, and you go through a rebellious phase. Jeremiah, like, had his rebellious phase after breaking up with Belly, because Belly was effectively his mother. But while Jeremiah is doing all of that, Conrad is the complete opposite end of the spectrum. He's waiting in the wings, silently, yearning, pining, waiting, hoping. Like, the respect of waiting silently until she is ready, until she is single, until she wants him back. Like, obviously that scene on the beach, he does declare love and is like, be with me. But like, he doesn't push it. He declares himself one time when he sees an opening for it. That opening being like, don't marry my brother because he's cheated on you and I still love you. And I just love the whole concept of like, I'm still in love with you, but it's been years and we haven't even spoken. Yes, exactly. That's the whole point. The girls just want a man who yearns, a man who's going to love you forever, a man that you don't have to ever suspect is cheating on you, because why would they ever look at another man when they just yearn for me? I burn for you. It's just beautiful, and I really hope that showrunners everywhere just see how crazy all the girls and the internet went for Conrad Fisher being just a yearny, pining boy, and take notes. Bring yearning back. I feel it. I feel it in my bones that yearning is back. And I do think the sort of rom-com lull we had was because of that. Bring back yearning. The girls want yearning. And I actually think that the payoff in that final episode was perfection. Yeah, he showed up out of the blue, but he was polite, gentlemanly, he kept his distance, he didn't push anything, he didn't expect anything or imply that he expected anything. He waited to scope out the vibes. Once he knew that she was single and that the door was open, he gently put himself out there, delicately flirted with her. Like, let Belly know that if she wanted to walk through the door, he was open to it. But ultimately, he let her make the decision. And then that sex scene was crazy. Never did I ever think, when I started watching The Summer I Turned Pretty in season 1 and they were all like teenagers and really young, did I think we would ever get a scene like that. His hand placement on the stairs, insane work. But that's what I say about the genius of the time jumps as well. You never could have had that if you didn't do the time jumps and you didn't age the cast believably as well. Because you can do time jumps sometimes where the characters don't really change in any way and you forget there was a time jump and you don't believe that they've aged. I fully bought into it in The Summer I Turned Pretty. I fully believed the time jumps and I didn't feel like they were like a cop-out. They felt so perfectly executed. What I'm also really happy about in the final episode as well was that they didn't let Jeremiah linger as this just immature, villainous, codependent, messy guy. They gave him life ambition and a career to build, and they gave him some autonomy. I hate that it was rushed in one episode though. The season in general, there was 11 episodes and 8 of them were the wedding plot. I don't actually think they should have sped up those 8 episodes because then it would have felt really, really rushed. I just think they should have had more episodes in the season. Like, it should have been 13 episodes if they added an extra 2 episodes on. And so we had like 5 episodes for the Paris stuff. And say between wedding and Paris, like just before that first Paris time jump, if they put it like mid-season finale and had like 2 weeks off instead of 1 between the episodes, I think that would have been a lot more effective. But I think Jeremiah especially, he needed more than an episode to redeem himself from the rest of the entire season, and he needed more than an episode to grow, to mature. I did like where they left his character. I just wish they didn't do it in an episode, but also they had no choice. Another thing I love about this season is that they did drop the episodes weekly. I waited until I think episode 4 or 5 to start watching, so I was able to binge the first section of the season. And I don't want all shows to go week by week. Some shows definitely don't need it, but The Summer I Turned Pretty, I don't think there would have been as much buzz about this season if it had just been dropped all at once. The reason the internet went crazy was because it had time to breathe between the episodes. Everyone had time to speculate, like make memes, laugh, discuss, form communities. Like TikTok and Instagram and Threads were going crazy between every episode. And it really reminded me of just like back in the day, pre-streaming services, like between every Twilight movie, or like in terms of weekly shows, it really reminded me of Game of Thrones, how every week between the episodes people would discuss and like reflect, re-watch, discuss fan theories. It was the same with The Vampire Diaries. When I watched that when it was like live on TV, it was one episode a week. I just used to love being on Twitter in between the episodes and just everyone just talking about what they liked about the episode, predicting what was going to come. It just makes such a nice community when they do it like that, and I think it was such a good decision to do with The Summer I Turned Pretty. I don't want every show to do it, but it was a genius decision to do it for this show. And on top of that, apparently it's confirmed by Jenny Han that we're getting a movie. Do they need to make a movie? No, I really don't think they need to do a movie. But of how much I loved season 3 and how much they like exceeded my expectations with it, they can absolutely make a movie, and I know it's going to be a banger. 10 out of 10. So by all means, give us a movie. I actually just hope they wait quite a while. I don't want a movie anytime soon. I think we need quite a big time jump for the characters between show and movie. But yeah, I think that's everything I wanted to say about the show. Let me know what your thoughts were, and I guess I'll see you guys in the next video. Okay, bye!